So by using this CloudWatch, we monitor all the resources and applications. It's like we can monitor the resources at IaaS level, infrastructure as a service level. We can monitor these applications at a PaaS level, platform as a services, and SaaS level. So all the three levels of different applications and resources and their utilizations, is there any errors with them, and their status, whether it is start, stop, or running. We can monitor the statuses also. We can get and we can create the alarms depending upon this status what we gather. So basically we'll monitor the resources, we'll gather their status, and we'll maintain a matrices. Matrices are nothing but graphs. So by using the graphs, we'll set threshold levels on it. Like what, by setting the threshold levels, we can perform these actions like creating alarms and notifying ourselves, or we can perform some actions like creating an alarm and doing some auto scaling kind of things. So let me directly enter into this CloudWatch service. So this is an overview dashboard of CloudWatch service, and the service is restricted to regions. So in every region you will find this service. So on the left panel side you can see alarms, billing, events. Under events you can see rules and logs, matrices. So basically there are four categories. Alarms. Under alarm you can see alarm, insufficient, okay, billing. These are the subcategories of alarms. Under events, for every event you can write rules. What are events? Events are nothing but, let us assume you had an EC2 instance, and what is the status of the EC2 instance? If it is running or shut down or terminated, the status indicates that event. So see, if assume you powered it off, so you can write an event and you can add a rule to that event saying that whenever the EC2 instance power offs, it should notify me. So you are capturing every event that is occurring with this AWS resources, with whatever the EC2 instance. So that deals with EC2, that deals with this CloudWatch events. And next, coming to logs. Logs, by using these logs, you can enable logs on, let us assume you had a VPC, a LAN, and you created a VPC, you had some instances in the LAN, so you're getting some income and outcome traffic on that LAN. So you want, assume that you wanted to capture what are all the incoming traffic you're getting into the LAN and outgoing traffic you're flowing out from your LAN. On that scenarios, you have to enable these logs on that complete VPC. So that can be possible through these logs. So from here you can enable logs on AWS services. Log indicates everything, whether a VPC created, any traffic entry into that VPC, any user hit to that one of the servers that is in the VPC. So everything we can create the logs. We can capture the logs from there, and we can store the logs by using this CloudWatch service. So fourth category is matrices. So after tracking all the logs, we have to see it, right? So by seeing the logs, we cannot understand it's in a plain text formatted. So matrices are nothing but graphs. So if we can enable the graphs on EC2 instances servers and EBS, those EC2 hard disk and S3 storage services. So we can enable this matrices values on these three, EBS, EC2 and S3. On EC2, what can we enable? We can enable the matrices. We can pull the graphs like CPU utilization. We can pull the graph like what is the network inflow of to that EC2 instance and network outflow to that EC2 instance. When it's come to EBS volume, what kind of logs you can pull? You can pull the logs of hard disk utilization, how many partitions you divided that EBS volume. Like that you can pull the logs. What is the state of that hard disk? By using the first category alarm. So after capturing this logs, after pulling these matrices, and after pulling this event rules, enabling the event rules on EC2 instances or VPCs or anything, if you want to notify yourself, then you create an alarm on that matrices saying that whenever the CPU utilization of so and so instance crosses 80%, notify me through SNS. Alarms ఏంటి అంటే we'll integrate SNS topics through SMS or SES. And alarm status. If the alarm is okay, so if it triggers alarm 80%, if you set a let us assume you set an alarm saying that for one of the instances, if its CPU utilization crosses more than 80%, then it should trigger the alarm. And to that alarm, you have added a notification service through SES saying that it should trigger me a message to my email, to my inbox saying that the CPU utilization went more than 80%. And another thing you can do is after triggering email, if you wanted, what you'll do basically, again you'll open this your AWS console, you'll see that server, or you'll think whether to launch a new server or to expand the server size. So if you don't wanted to do this manually, if you wanted to even do this physically, automatically, I mean expanding the server size, we call that as scaling. We call that as auto scaling. So after getting an alarm saying that your CPU utilization crossed 80%, you do the scaling of your servers, scaling and expansion, and either it is horizontal scaling or vertical scaling. Horizontal scaling ante అదే server ni size type will change the type of that server from T2.micro to more than from 4 virtual CPUs to maybe you change to 16 virtual CPUs depending upon your requirement. You can scale vertically the size of the server. So vertical scaling is nothing but increasing the size of the server or changing the instance type of the server. There is vertical scaling. Horizontal scaling is nothing but adding more servers to fulfill your requirement without disturbing the existing server. So by how you will do it? By deviating the traffic whatever that is hitting the server and server utilization is going up, or sharing the application with multiple servers. By doing this, you can scale your servers horizontally. So see, after getting the alarms, if you want to scale, how do you scale? You scale, if after getting email, you'll scale it manually. You'll enter into the AWS console and you'll launch another servers. So if you don't wanted to do this activity, you wanted AWS itself to do this activity, and we call that scaling part as auto scaling. So here in this alarms concept, you can enable the auto scaling also. You can specify while creating the alarm itself only. At 80%, if it reaches my EC2 instance CPU utilization, notify me and automatically scale up the size of the EC2 instance. Or launch another server similar and divide the traffic. Like that, you can automatically assign this auto scaling to these alarms. So CloudWatch is an resource monitoring tool. So it is monitoring. CloudWatch is an log storing tool. So it monitors and it pulls the logs. CloudWatch is an alarm. It notifies us. We can create alarms. We can create events on what should be monitored, what kind of rules. So it is a monitoring tool. It is a notification tool. It is a auto scaling. So it monitors, it notifies us, and it automatically performs the actions on the how to resolve that problem. So right away I was in Ireland region. Let me shift to the Singapore because I don't have any servers with Ireland region. Okay, right now you can see from the dashboard for me on the Singapore region I have 503 CloudWatch matrices available. So on the resources from Singapore, whatever the resource it may be, either it is EC2 or VPC, EBC, Glacier, whatever the resource it may be, it is monitoring, this CloudWatch is monitoring on 503 matrices on different resources. And here service health indicates that the service health of CloudWatch, see on every, after entering into this AWS console on every service, whether it is CloudWatch or EC2 or VPC, from the dashboards you can see whether these services on the data centers are running good or not. If there is, they have some internal problem with the CloudWatch AWS guys. If AWS guys have an internal problem with the CloudWatch, they'll notify here. So we have some problem. Service is not operating normally. बोल इधर नीचे they'll give what might be the reason why it is not operating normally. So when will they get resolved? Like that from like the services health you can see from here. So just enter into this alarms. So first we'll see what are the matrices it is capturing. 523 matrices is said. See for my Singapore, when I enter into this, let us say first how many servers instances are running up with my Singapore region. Overall, I had 5 running instances with Singapore region. And overall, I had 11 instances. There are only 5 are running, remaining 6 are in power off mode. You can see they are in stop mode. So what kind of matrices? Let us see. I want to see the utilization, CPU utilization of the server. इस सर्वर का नाम क्या है? mail2.info tree solutions. Pull it a little bit. So mail2, what is the server unique ID? This is what, right? Copy the unique ID of that server and go to CloudWatch matrices and see that, make sure that you are at Singapore region. EC2 is in Singapore region and even the CloudWatch matrices what you are using is in Singapore region. And go for matrices and go for EC2 matrices. See, he categorized how much clearly. For EBS there are 110 matrices, EC2 144 matrices, log 6, SNS 13, S3 132, RDS, Relational Database Service. There are 98 matrices. So let me enter into the EC2 category because we wanted to gather that server CPU utilization. Enter this unique ID of that instance, enter. So automatically what it does, out of this 140 or something change, it given me. So right away with that server I had 12 matrices, a unique ID paina. So see, instance name, instance ID, and what is the matrices? CPU utilization, disk read per bytes, disk read ops, network in, network out, like that. I had 12 matrices. Let us see open the CPU utilization. Just click on this matrix CPU. Okay, sorry guys, I lost the power, so I connected through this mobile. So can you hear me clearly?
Yes, Kanchi.
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay. So where are we? We are talking about these matrices. Okay. Can you guys please unmute your mics?
Yeah.
So from here, we can pull this instances CPU utilization. Just click on the CPU utilization. You can observe the EC2. Just pull up here. So this is the CPU utilization. Just click here, check mark this. So from here you can see the CPU utilization of that server, that instance ID. So I can on the right side corner you can see the overall Windows is divided into four tabs, and one is left side. This is all the category tab, and this is what the instance filtering tab. This is the graph tab where you can see exactly and on what action, how much time you wanted to view this action, whether from the past 1 hour. You can click here. It pulls up the past 1 hour graph. From the past hour, this is what the CPU utilization of that instance. Or you can pull the 1 day. Like that you can customize the time range and you can view this utilization. And also, Srikant, can you unmute your mic please? Okay, thank you. So like that you can view this utilization report in matrices. So this is our human readable format. We can see by this matrix when it went what. On the left side, y-axis indicates the CPU utilization, 20%, 40%, like that. It automatically customizes it to 100% if it raises nearly 100%. And the right side indicates the time. So the x-axis indicates the time. From like this you can view the CPU utilizations or the matrices or anything. Maybe if you don't want with this, you can go with other. See, I want to view the servers past 3 hours CPU utilization. At the same time, I wanted to view the servers from the past 3 hours. What is the network inflow? So click on this network inflow. So I selected two graphs. So it is giving the blue one as CPU utilization and this orange one as network inflow. Or else you can, if you want to pull this other server CPU utilization, you can specify the other server CPU utilization also. If you want to pull this web server CPU utilization, if you want to compare this web server and this mail server CPU utilization, Yes. Screen కనిపించట్లేదు. Okay, I'll reshare the screen with you. ఇప్పుడు కనిపిస్తుందా? Kishore, actually I can see that you were in offline. ఇక్కడ స్టేటస్ లో మీరు from attendees I can see that you had opened 2 consoles. And Srinivas is also on offline and one web. Kishore, totally 3, 2 offline and 1 ఒకటి console. Can you see it now, Kishore? కిషోర్ ఇప్పుడు చూడగలుగుతున్నారా? శ్రీనివాస్, I can also observe that మీవి కూడా ఒక 3 సెషన్స్ ఓపెన్ ఉన్నాయండి. Can you hear me?
కార్తీక్ ల్యాప్టాప్ లో నాకు వాయిస్ వినబట్టలేదు.
స్క్రీన్ కనిపిస్తుందా?
స్క్రీన్ కనిపిస్తుంది.
మీరు ఎక్కడున్నారండి యాక్చువల్గా? యు ఆర్ ఇన్ ద సిటీ ఆర్ ఇన్ ద విలేజ్?
లేదు, హైదరాబాద్.
హైదరాబాద్లో. యూ హ్యాడ్ వెరీ గుడ్ ఇంటర్నెట్ ఉందండి బాగానే? ఓకే.
యాక్చువల్ స్క్రీన్ నాకు స్ట్రక్ అయింది మీరు ఫోన్తో కనెక్ట్ చేసిన తర్వాత.
ఓకే, నేను ఫోన్తో ఆన్ చేసిన తర్వాత స్ట్రక్ అయింది. సో ఇప్పుడు కనిపిస్తుందా? నో యూ కెన్ సీ మై స్క్రీన్.
ఒకసారి హలో.
ఎస్ చెప్పండి.
ఒకసారి మోషన్ మూవ్ చేస్తారా?
యు ఆర్ చేంజ్ ఇన్ మై ట్యాబ్. Is the same problem with Ravi and others?
Yes, Karthik.
So you are not able to see my screen?
Yes, it was stuck for a few minutes, and now I can see, but I can able to see now.
You can able to see it. So what about you, Arun?
Your screen has been stuck. It's showing the same page.
Okay, let me stop my complete screen sharing. So now what you see, people all?
It's like CPU utilization.
Oh, there it's stuck. Okay.
Yes,
I'm able to see.
No? Arun, is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
And
The Google page.
yes, I opened the Google page and I entered the type hi. And what about the Bobby?
You can see.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah.
Sure, you?
Yeah.
And Ravi, can you see my screen?
Yes, Karthik. Now.
And Srikanth and Srinivas?
I'm able to see Karthik.
That's clear cut.
Okay, we'll start the class. So what are we talking about? I was just showing you. So guys, all can you please unmute your mics? I was barely here to 10 different people's sounds. So what I was saying is, you can check mark 3 to 4 different servers CPU utilization or different matrices, and you can compare the matrices and you can view the matrices through this graph. See, right now I have checkmarked the CPU utilization of this mail2.inforesolutions.com instance, that is in blue color, and I checkmark the CPU utilization of this web server in green color, and network inflow of that. Like that, you can keep 2 to 3 matrices and we can compare it. So that can be possible from here, and we can change the time range. Okay, this is about the matrices and the view of the matrices. The second thing is enabling the alarm on the matrices. So like this, we can capture the EBS matrices, EC2 matrices, and everything. RDS, this is all the RDS servers. And go for these alarms. On the matrices, let me tell you, alarms, create alarm. So on what you wanted to create alarm exactly? Let us say I wanted to create an alarm on EC2. If EC2 server, one of the EC2 server, if it processes its CPU utilization more than 80%, I want to notify itself. So choose EC2 matrices. So what is the instance on this unique ID instance? On what you want to create CPU utilization or network in, network out? I want to create on CPU utilization. Just check mark this. Pull down. Just you could use it here on the screen. Also on this pop-up message, you got a pop-up window. On that pop-up window you had 3 categories. One is the listing out of the matrices, and the other is CPU utilization graph. The third is the time range. So you can change this view by clicking here. Right now it's in this category. Just click on the side link, so it expanded. If you want this bottom window, sub window to be more, click here. Okay, I'll keep this. So this is what CPU utilization of these matrices of that particular instance. So I want to enable the alarm on that instance, saying that if it crosses the CPU utilization more than 80%, then it should trigger the alarm. So after selecting this instance, go click on the next, or here you can click on define alarm and name that alarm. It's name tag, you can give anything. I can write it as CPU threshold max alarm. So I was defining some threshold to it, created for test case, like this, and at what level. So you can see under the CPU utilization there are a lot of indications: greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. It's like this. If it crosses greater, if you specify a greater than or equal to 80%, so whenever it reaches the 80% or it crosses the 80%, it triggers an alarm. If you specify a greater than and 80%, whenever it crosses the 80%, it triggers an alarm. Next, how many times it want to trigger? See, if it observes that your CPU utilization crosses more than 80% for 3 times, like 3 consecutive periods. Consecutive periods are nothing but the graph moves up and low, right? So it's like a graph crosses 80% and comes down. It considers that consecutive as 1 period, and again it crosses and comes down, like that. If it happens continuously for 3 times, so I want to trigger the alarm for that, like that. Next, so you have created a alarm. After creating clicking on this create alarm, it creates alarm. So after creating an alarm, what should you do? Apart from this creating alarm, I want notified also. I want to get a notification. So this alarm has to trigger some actions. What kind of action? You can see whether it is here under the observe. You can see 3 kinds of notifications actions. One is notifications, Second is auto scaling action.
Karthik,
Yes.
the screen has been struck again.
Again, maybe there is a problem with my mobile net. So I got the power back. Let me reconnect to my this Wi-Fi thing.
Yeah, sure.
No, everybody can see my screen.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Karthik.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So here, after creating an alarm, see while creating an alarm, what we are specifying? We are specifying first thing is to what instance you're going to create the alarm. What is the instance? You're specifying the name and on what metrics you are going to create alarm, and what is the threshold for triggering alarm. Either it is greater than 80 or less than 40, like that you can specify the threshold, and on what consecutive periods it should trigger an alarm for the threshold, whether 3, 2, 5, 10, you can specify that. And after triggering alarm, what action it should perform. See, it had three options with actions. One is it notifies us. This is the notification. The second is auto scaling. If you want to, apart from this notification, if you want to perform some auto scaling like expanding the size of that instance or launching another instance, that is what auto scaling. Next is easy to action. Easy to action means on that particular instance, if you wanted to some actions like if let us assume say it crossed more than 80% and you wanted to restart that server, it went stuck. 100% recharge of the stuck in the server. It got hang up. It is not responding. You wanted to restart that server. In that scenarios, you can specify the action, automatic action, or we can call it as auto action on EC2 action, saying that the server should get restart or power off or launch a new server like this. Let me tell you. So what kind of right away I had, let me deal with actions. Let us create first notification. Click on this notification. So when the state is in alarm, it has to trigger a notification. Select notification list. See, right away for my SCS topic, send notification to which topic. I had recently we created eNadu, right? eNadu topic, and we had subscribers for that eNadu, that my mail ID. So if I click on this, like that, similarly you can create a new topic also. So for that, first you have to enter into this SES service or SNS service. There you want to create this, sorry, SES service. There you want to create a topic saying that uh, threshold, CPU threshold notification topic, and add subscribers to it. Whom should it get notified? Like maybe in your team, your TL should get notified, your infra manager should get notified, or one of the technicians should get notified, technical guy. Like that you can add these three people as a subscribers to the topic, and you can add the topic here in this notification, so that whenever the actions performs this, it crosses 80%, it pops up a alarm, and it pushes that alarm as a notification to the topic. From the topic, whoever the subscribers, for them the messages will get notified. Like this we can notify. See, ఈనాడు అనగానే ఇక్కడ నాకు కార్తిక్ డాట్ బాసుత్కర్ is one of these subscriber, so it will send. So apart from this action, I want, this is notification action, and so I want auto scaling action also. I can click the auto scaling action. The second action you are adding it if it crosses 80%. అదేంటి, when the state is in alarm, auto scaling from the group. See, for this we have been talked about still auto scaling, and the later classes I'll tell you in detail of auto scaling when we are talking about this cloud formations. Okay, I'll tell you on the what exactly types of auto scalings, how will you perform this, how will you create a groups on this auto scaling and everything. So for time being, let us assume you had a auto scaling group. From that auto scaling group, what it should do? It should launch a new server or expand the server. Like that we can pull it. We can specify here. The third thing is easy to action. No, I don't want any auto scaling thing. If it crosses more than 80%, I want to restart the server. Delete this. Easy to action. Pull down. From here, if the time is, if whenever this alarm states an alarm, just recover the instance or stop the instance or terminate the instance or reboot the instance. If you want to restart, just click on this, restart the instance. So after, by clicking on here, create alarm, it creates a alarm saying that what are all the parameters we have given. We have selected one matrix. On that matrix, we specified alarm saying that it crosses 80% with 3 consecutive periods. It should trigger the alarm. And we specified actions on that alarm, what actions it should trigger. It should send a email to this mail ID, and it also perform the action like restarting the server. You got it, guys? Any doubts on this?
No, Karthik.
And here even he clearly specified మీకు డౌట్ రావాలి సార్ మీరు చెప్పారు 80% క్రాస్ అయ్యి కాన్సిక్యూటివ్ పీరియడ్స్లో పైకి డౌన్ మళ్ళీ 80% బిలో వస్తే అది ఒక కాన్సిక్యూటివ్ పీరియడ్ అనుకుంటుంది కదా. అలా ఒకవేళ సిపి యూటిలైజేషన్ స్ట్రక్ అయ్యి ఒకటే కాన్సిక్యూటివ్ పీరియడ్కి మ్యాక్సిమం వెళ్ళిపోయి 100% అక్కడే స్టక్ అయితే ఎలా తెలుస్తుంది, మనకి ఎలా నోటిఫై వస్తుంది అంటే ఫర్ దాట్ యూ కెన్ స్పెసిఫై హియర్ టైం పీరియడ్. ఒక కాన్సిక్యూటివ్ టైం పీరియడ్ వచ్చేసి 1 minute, 5 minutes, 50 minutes maximum. Okay, if you specify 1 minute, even though it crosses the 80%, 1 minute కూడా డౌన్ రాలేదంటే it considers that as a one consecutive period. Like that 3 minutes కి డౌన్ కాలేదంటే it considers it as 3 consecutive periods and it triggers the alarm to us. Okay, that's how you create alarms. And you can create the alarms on billing. So let us assume right away my billing is it's $92 and from the first for this 10 days it costed only me $92. Sorry, the 4 days. So every first it creates an alarm. Sorry, it regenerates a bill. So if you wanted to enable alarm on this billing, like you wanted to say for this month it should not cross then $1,500. If it crosses the $1,500, I should get notified saying that it is crossing the $1,500. It crossed the $1,500, like that. See, by for enabling this alarm on this billing, first you have to enter into this preferences of this billing and cost management dashboard కి వెళ్ళి వచ్చేసి ఇక్కడ preferences కి వెళ్ళి, so you have to check mark this receive billing alerts. ఇది చెక్ మార్క్ లో ఉండాలండి కంపల్సరీ. After that, enter into here CloudWatch service. Click on the billing. So right now he is offering this CloudWatch billing data and alarms will be stored with Virginia and only North Virginia regions. So if you wanted to switch, he's telling to switch the region and set up this billing because he is offering this billing service only with Virginia region. బిల్లింగ్ అనేది గ్లోబల్గా అండి, బట్ సింగపూర్లో ఆఫర్ చేయట్లేదు, అక్కడికి వెళ్ళి సెట్ చేసుకోండి అని చెప్తున్నాడు. ఓ ఫర్ ఎన్ వర్జీనియా, ముందు నుంచి అండి, ఇప్పుడే కాదు. From the first onwards, he has only this billing management and alarm triggering on billing only with one data center, his Virginia data center. In Virginia is a core data center for his AWS. From here, click on billing, create alarm. So specify the dollars, how many dollars you wanted to get threshold, $1,500. To whom, what kind of alarm you should trigger? It should trigger the alarm, and whom should the alarm should notify. After creating alarm, go to these alarms and specify the notifications on it. Okay, like that you can even create alarm on this billing also. Next, coming to events. So events are nothing but, I said, we've seen that consecutive periods on what kind of events, like power off, power on. Let me tell you, create rule. So under this event, first you'll select on what the event should happen. Event and ఏంటి అంటే power, assume that you had an instance that is in the power on position, it's running position. If it changes its events to power off, a state marte, if you want to capture that event and you wanted to get notified, then you have to add that instance as a target for this event service on this CloudWatch service. And select source, Amazon EC2. What kind of events you wanted to capture? Amazon EC2. What kind of events? Any state అంటే power off, power on, whatever, or any customized state. Let us say custom state. అది షట్ డౌన్ అయితే నాకు నోటిఫికేషన్ రావాలి, షట్ డౌన్. ఆర్ అది స్టాప్ అయినా నాకు ఒక నోటిఫికేషన్ రావాలి, టర్మినేట్ అయినా ఎవరైనా టర్మినేట్ చేసినా నోటిఫికేషన్ రావాలి. అది అంటున్నాం, అది ఏంటి? వాట్ ఈస్ దట్ ఇన్స్టెన్స్? స్పెసిఫై ద ఇన్స్టెన్స్ ID. Right away I had in Virginia, don't have any instances kada. Let us shift to this Singapore region. So create event selector, event on EC2 service. What kind of event? Shutdown. And on what instance? Specify the instance. Web server. To whom it should what kind of trigger it should get? SNS topic. Select the topic, Enadu. So whenever on the Singapore region, this instance shutdowns, power offs, it triggers a alarm from SNS to this Enadu topic. Who are the subscribers for this Enadu topic? The email IDs, whoever, they'll get a message. Okay, like that you can notify yourself on resource events. You can write these rules to whom the target should be and what is the state and what is that instance and everything. Such kind of things you can do with these events and rules. So next, coming to logs. So as I said, you can enable the logs on complete VPC, or you can enable the logs on instances. I had enabled the logs on my one of the VPC. So what is this ENI? ENI enti, name enti ante. So where do you enable these logs? VPC లో enable చేశానంటే, సో VPCలో ఏంటుంటాయండి, ఇంటర్నెట్ రావడానికి పోవడానికి, LAN కదా. So we'll have cables and we'll have where the cables is connected to the computers, to their interfaces. RJ45 female port ఉంటుంది కదా. So let us assume we'll call that interfaces as with Amazon Web Services as ENI. ENI stands for Elastic Network Interface. So every instance will have a network interface to get the internet. So every router will have a network interface. Every resource will have a physical resource or virtual resource will have a network interfaces to get the internet, or in order to communicate with other computer. So we have enabled this logs on that interface. So assume that physically ఇదంతా మర్చిపోండి, ఒక సినారియోకి రండి. Assume that you had your laptop, right? మీ ల్యాప్టాప్ కూడా ఒక ఫిజికల్ ఇంటర్ఫేస్ ఉంది. RJ45 కేబుల్ పెట్టడానికి, ఇంటర్నెట్ రావడానికి కేబుల్ పెడతారు కదా, ఆ పోర్ట్నే విల్ కాల్ ఇట్ యాజ్ నెట్వర్క్ ఇంటర్ఫేస్. సో EC2 మన AWS కాన్సెప్ట్లో, క్లౌడ్ కంప్యూటింగ్లో వీఆర్ కాలింగ్ దట్ ఇంటర్ఫేస్ యాజ్ that deals with instances as ENI. E stands for elastic, N stands for network. Why he is calling ENI elastic? Why he is calling elastic? Because you can scale up the size of this instance. You can scale up the number of these ENI interfaces to this instance. If you want two instances, if you want two elastic network interfaces to one instances, just power off that instance. You can attach multiple network interfaces to it, and you can power on it. Like that, you can scale. That's the reason he's calling it as elastic. Elastically, you can attach n number of interfaces to your instances. So let us assume if you want to track, what I want to do is right click. I wanted to track the logs of one of my server on Singapore region. 5 servers slow, running servers slow. I wanted to track these servers ఇన్స్టెన్స్ ఐడి వచ్చేసి ఇదండి ఆ సర్వర్కి. వాట్ ఈస్ దిస్ ఎలాస్టిక్ నెట్వర్క్ ఇంటర్ఫేస్ యూనిక్ ఐడి ఫర్ దిస్ సర్వర్? ఈ సర్వర్కి కూడా ఒక ఇంటర్నెట్ కనెక్షన్ ఉంటుంది కదా. సో వాట్ ఈస్ ద ఐడి ఆఫ్ దట్? అండర్ ద డిస్క్రిప్షన్ స్క్రోల్ డౌన్ వేర్ యూ కెన్ సీ ENI of that server. No, here is not given. Under this status checks also ఇవ్వలేదు. Monitoring. సో ఇక్కడ ఇవ్వలేదు. సో జస్ట్ కాపీ ది సర్వర్స్ ఇన్స్టెన్స్ ఐడి. What is on which server I wanted to capture? Mail server. Just copy the server instance ID, the unique ID. Control C. On the left panel under category you can see network and security. ఇక్కడ నెట్వర్క్ ఇంటర్ఫేసెస్ ఉన్నాయా? ఇక్కడ ఈ రీజియన్లో, సింగపూర్ రీజియన్లో ఎన్ని నెట్వర్క్ ఇంటర్ఫేసెస్, ఎన్ని ENIs ఉన్నాయని మొత్తం లిస్ట్ ఇక్కడ కనిపిస్తుందండి. So these are all the ENIs that are attached to these servers. So search for that particular server. See, for this web server, mail.info.resolvesolutions.com అనే సర్వర్కి నెట్వర్క్ ఇంటర్ఫేస్ వచ్చేసి ఇది ఉందండి. దాని యూనిక్ నెట్వర్క్ ఇంటర్ఫేస్ యూనిక్ ఐడి వచ్చేసి ఇది ENI B54. కాపీ దిస్, కంట్రోల్ C and search in here, control V. Okay, the thing is that I enabled this logs only on flowlog VPC1. This is a different VPC. అదొక ల్యాన్ అండి. ఈ ఇంటర్ఫేస్ ఉన్నది వేరే ల్యాన్ అండి. You got it? So on that VPC1 I launched one server. The server is this server, I hope so. Flowlog VPC1. You'll enter the VPC. These are all the lands, different lands are created in Singapore region, and on which I specified these logs. Yeah, and select one of the VPC. అక్కడ చూసారా ఫ్లో లాగ్స్ అని ఉన్నాయి. సో దీనికి ఫ్లో లాగ్స్ క్రియేట్ చేయలేదు. గో ఫర్ దిస్, నో దిస్. Yeah, for this VPC I created this flow log. దాని పేరే flow log VPC అని క్రియేట్ చేశాను. So in order to create this flow log on the VPC, select the VPC, క్రియేట్ ఫ్లో లాగ్ అని వెంటనే ఆటోమేటిక్ ఒక ఫ్లో లాగ్ క్రియేట్ అయ్యి దానికి నేమ్ ఇస్తామండి, క్రియేట్ ఫ్లో లాగ్. సో ఆ ఫ్లో లాగ్ వచ్చేసి ఇక్కడ మీకు EC2 ఇన్స్టెన్స్లో ఇక్కడ కనిపిస్తుంది క్లౌడ్ వాచ్ మెట్రిసెస్లో. సో ఆన్ దిస్ VPC, I have created a flow log. So this flow log is capturing all the Ethernet network interfaces that are with the instances on this అంటే ఈ ల్యాన్ లో ఫస్ట్ VPC అనే ల్యాన్ లో ఎన్ని ఇన్స్టెన్సెస్ ఉన్నాయి, ఆ ఇన్స్టెన్సెస్ కి ఎన్ని ఈథర్నెట్ నెట్వర్క్ ఇంటర్ఫేసెస్ ఉన్నాయి, ఆ ఇంటర్ఫేసెస్ కి ఉన్న రిజల్ట్ ప్యాకెట్స్ అన్ని క్యాప్చర్ చేస్తుంది, ఇన్ అండ్ అవుట్ ట్రాఫిక్. సో where is our CloudWatch service? Guys, any doubts on this? See, let me tell you. These are all the VPCs. VPCs are nothing but LANs in the cloud. So on one of the LAN, I enabled this log monitoring, and I was capturing all the logs that are with LAN. Logs and what kind of logs? See, on that LAN లో కొన్ని సర్వర్స్ ఉంటాయి, ఆ సర్వర్స్ కి ఈథర్నెట్ ఇంటర్ఫేసెస్ ఉంటాయి కదండి. ఆ ఈథర్నెట్ నెట్వర్క్ ఇంటర్ఫేసెస్ లో వాట్ ఆర్ ఆల్ ద ఇన్పుట్ ట్రాఫిక్, అవుట్పుట్ ట్రాఫిక్, I was capturing the traffic and I was keep storing them as a flow logs with my CloudWatch service. So a particular VPC లో I had this many elastic network interface. ఆ elastic interfaces లో ENI cards లో click on this one of the interface. For that interface, from the last log, ఇది లాగ్ అండి, ఈ లాగ్ మీరు ఎలా చూడాలంటే లాగ్ నెంబర్, ENI, ఆ ENI కార్డ్ యూనిక్ ఐడి, ఏ IP అడ్రస్ నుంచి ట్రాఫిక్ వచ్చింది, ఏ IP అడ్రస్కి వెళ్ళింది, మన ఇది ప్రైవేట్ ఐడి, దిస్ ఈజ్ ద పబ్లిక్ IP ఫ్రమ్ ద ఎక్స్టర్నల్ ఇంటర్నెట్ నుంచి ఒక ప్యాకెట్ వచ్చింది, ఆ ప్యాకెట్ వచ్చేసి మన ఈ సర్వర్, ఈ నెట్వర్క్ ఎలాస్టిక్ నెట్వర్క్ ఇంటర్ఫేస్ ఏ సర్వర్కి ఉంది అంటే ఈ ప్రైవేట్ IP ఉన్న సర్వర్కి అటాచ్ అయి ఉంది. ఆ పోర్ట్ నెంబర్ ఎంత, డీటెయిల్స్, ఆ సైజ్ ఎంత, ప్యాకెట్ సైజ్ ఎంత, ప్యాకెట్ స్టేటస్ ఏంటి, వచ్చిందా పోయిందా, రిజెక్ట్ అయ్యింది, ఓకే. లైక్ దట్ యూ కెన్ సీ ఆల్ ద లాగ్స్ ఆఫ్ దట్ ప్యాకెట్స్. సి communication between the two computers occurs by using a packets, right? Whatever the data flows, that flows with it frames and packets, we call it as. నేను చెప్పాను కదా మీకు స్టార్టింగ్ బేసిక్ క్లాస్లో, వాట్ ఆర్ ఆల్ ద OSI 7 layers మోడల్స్, అండ్ దాంట్లో నెట్వర్కింగ్లో ప్యాకెట్స్ అని చెప్పాను. సో ఫస్ట్ ఫిజికల్ కేబుల్ ఉంటుంది, ఫిజికల్ లేయర్లో ఫిజికల్ కేబుల్స్ పెడతాం. Data link layer lo will attach the cables to different computers. Network layer lo will assign the IP addresses. After that, transport layer lo will transport the data by dividing the data into small packets. So that packet information is capturing as a log by using this flow log here. You got it? ఎక్కడ చెప్పాను? Here. So transport layer it transports the data in packets. See, ప్యాకెట్స్ ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ చేస్తుందని చెప్పాను. ఆ ప్యాకెట్స్ అని ప్రతి ప్యాకెట్ని కూడా లాగ్ క్యాప్చర్ చేసి ఆ లాగ్ని మనకి ఇక్కడ చూపిస్తుంది. ఆ ప్యాకెట్లో ఏముంటాయి, ప్యాకెట్ సైజ్ ఎంత, ప్యాకెట్ ఎక్కడి నుంచి వస్తుంది, సోర్స్ అడ్రస్ ఏంటి, డెస్టినేషన్ ఏంటి. సో దిస్ డీటెయిల్స్. ఓకే, వాట్ ఈస్ ద స్టేటస్ ఆఫ్ ది ప్యాకెట్, సక్సెస్ ఆర్ రిజెక్ట్ అయ్యిందా. ఓకే, this is something related to networking, purely networking concepts. It's like you'll provide this log files to security people. Security guys will analyze these logs by using their a lot of tools, OSIM, open vault, open vas and different tools ఉంటాయండి. ఆ టూల్స్ని ఈ లాగ్స్ని అనలైజ్ చేసి తెలిసేది దట్ ఓకే ఈ ఐపీ చైనా నుంచి వచ్చింది, ఈ ఐపీ మన ల్యాండ్కి 30 times హిట్ చేసింది కంటిన్యూస్గా విత్ డిఫరెంట్ పాస్వర్డ్స్. ఇట్స్ ట్రైయింగ్ టు అథెంటికేట్ ఇంటూ వన్ ఆఫ్ అవర్ సర్వర్ దట్ ఈస్ ఇన్ ద ల్యాండ్ అని. ఇట్స్ దేర్ జాబ్. ఓకే, అంటే ఐ వాస్ టెల్లింగ్ యూ how to enable this logs on the VPC. So whenever you enable the logs on the VPC, that will showcase you on this CloudWatch services. From here you can see what are all the packets that is transmitting under this VPC to what Elastic Network interface. You can capture it and you can view it GUI. Next, coming to matrices, we talked about is what are all the matrices, how to see these matrices graphs and everything. Okay, so any doubts guys, any doubts on this? Arun, any doubts you had? No. Kishore, you, any doubts you have on this topic? Kishore, Ravi, Srikanth, Srinivas, where are all the others guys
No,
here?
Karthik.
No, Karthi.
No. So where is Bhavin and this Naveen? Where they went? They left the class before the class ends, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, message them.